Hey guys, what is going on? This is your old pal CHH, and I get to do something that I did a video, I recorded, have no idea when it comes out because I batch record a bunch of stuff, but I did this video where I was talking about really quirky or misleading or downright false advertising Friday the 13th release, as well as some cool ones. And I had this experience with these I Love the 80s ones. And I thought that they just put out part 2. Now, if you didn't see that video, I'll show it again here. And we're going to re-experience something else. Because guess what? They did another one that I didn't know about. So long story short, in 2008, I think there was this big documentary called I Love the 80s that VH1 had. And from what I understand, the documentary basically was showcasing a ton of 80s movies. And if it might have been one of the first times like we really had like a pure 80s nostalgia driven thing. Now 80s nostalgia is gigantic, and even people my age that were born in the early 90s that never really got to experience 80s culture, we feel a need to, like, we miss something that we weren't there for. You know, it's actually, I don't even know if nostalgia is really the word. What is the word for stuff like that? Like, what is the word for people like me that, like, I love 80s music, Tears for Fears, Echo and the Bunnymen, The Cure, Whitesnake, all that. I love it. I live it. I breathe it. And I genuinely think that's one of the greatest decades for music. I mean, especially the new wave stuff. I mean, it's second to none. Second to none. But like, you know, I never experienced it. I see it from a past tense, like videos and music videos and bands and movies like that. I never lived it. But anyway, so this was like the first, I think one of the first like big waves of nostalgia hitting was that time. Now, here's what we did. Friday the 13th Part 2, I Love the 80s. Pretty cool, right? So I thought that this was a fun gimmick, and I remember seeing this on the shelf, believe it or not, in 2008. So I remember I was in high school, and I remember going to, hell, it might have been when I would go to the big city, which was about 40 minutes from me, like Kmart, and seeing this. That's right, Kmart. And I remember going to the shelves one time, and I'm sure I saw it at Walmart too, but I do remember seeing this at Kmart. And I remember it all happened like in a day or two. I remember seeing these I Love the 80s things. So I thought that was kind of fun, but I wasn't really like, this was like right before I really got into horror. And I remember going home and watching TV with my dad, and we used to have VH1 on all the time because VH1 was a great channel, like a great channel. And so we turned on the TV one night, flipped through the channels, and then I remember seeing the I Love the 80s documentary, and I remember I'm talking about either John Candy or Airplane right next to each other in some big documentary thing. And so this was all culminating, happening right at that time. And that's now years later, I learned all of these there was a ton of them too. I'll pull up some pictures now. There were a ton of these movies. This is not just a horror thing. Paramount teamed up with VH1, and then they also teamed up with Rhino CD Company, the record company, and they did some amazing things. Now, part of me wants to start collecting all of these because this was at the tail end of the true height of DVD, 2008. Blu-rays were out there, but Blu-rays were only 2 years old. Most people don't switch formats for at least 4 or 5 years after the formats come out, I think, en masse. I think that's actually fair, 4 or 5 years. I mean, I really didn't get into Blu-ray till basically when the Halloween 3 Scream Factory Blu-ray came out. And I feel like I'm on par with like what the masses do when they swap home video formats. But anyway, there's a ton of them out there. And like there's some horror stuff, there's thriller stuff, and then of course there's comedies and action films. And a lot of them are from Paramount. So what blew me away is I thought, okay, this is just a fun little gimmick. I Love the 80s, Friday the 13th Part 2. The back, has your typical artwork that you would see from the initial DVD release of Friday the 13th Part 2. But what popped me and made me lose my gourd is when I opened this up, I was like, holy shit, there's a CD in here. Now, this is the reason I'm excited to do this video, is because I've got Part 1 right here, and I hope that there's a CD in here. I pray to God there's a CD in here. And also, I have no idea if these had slipcovers initially. I don't know. But check this out. So when you open it up, here it is. Home Sweet Home, home of the 80s. It says the 1980s were, in a word, rad. And there was only one place for the 80s programming you love, VH1 Classic. From pop-up video to Metal Mania and beyond, we've got everything you need to get your 80s fix. Relive all the fashion fashion, trends, and most importantly, the music of the most awesome decade ever. And if that's not enough, check out the vh1classic.com when you'll find over 6,000 music videos as well as tons of classic arcade games and VH1 originals. The 80s are back in style, so get with the program only on VH1 Classic. Pretty cool. I don't even know if VH1 Classic is a thing anymore. But check it out. There's one, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Go to www.the80sondvd.com. That is so cool. 80s tees. 80s tees. That was the website where I was buying t-shirts from before anything else. I would get Rambo shirts. I would get Jason shirts on there. 80stees.com, which is still around. We got to bring them back. 80s tees. They were the site. I mean, seriously, they were the site. So that is freaking awesome. Just for the record, there is no reversible art in case you're wondering. So, like I said, what made this so cool was this music from the 80s. And the soundtrack on this was great. You've got Take On Me by Aha. You've got Need You Tonight from In Excess. Chains of Love, Eraser, which is a great song. And then I was so happy to see this. Echo and the Bunnymen, Lips Like Sugar. And here's the CD. Look at that. I Love the 80s. And yes, I have jammed this in my truck. I Love the 80s. Rhino. Custom Products. 2008 Rhino Custom Products. I'm guessing Paramount owns them. What a collab. I mean, this is so cool. And the DVD, like I said, is just, it's basically like the DVD from the initial 2001 release. So that's part 2. This is the one I remember seeing. Now, from what I understand this time, there is only 1 and 2. I don't think they did Friday 3 or anything. So guys, here we have it. Friday the 13th part 1. I got it shrink wrapped. Got it off of eBay for $7, $2 shipping. And we're going to see what songs are on the disc in here because I don't know. This is brand new, so it should have the CD. The weight feels similar. If it doesn't, oh well, but we'll see what's inside this. Now, I love these gimmicks. This has to be... This is nostalgia in a couple ways. It's that fake nostalgia, making me think about a decade that I wasn't even around for. But it's also nostalgia for my teen years, my high school teen years, 2008. I love the 80s. It's just amazing. All right, so you guys ready? I hope, let's see, I hope that there's some Tears for Fears on here. Maybe a little Billy Idol. I don't know, maybe there'll be some Whitesnake on here. Maybe there'll be Rat. Maybe there'll be, Cyndi Lauper. I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, so I've got to get this off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is back in the day where they had those security tabs. God, they were brutal. Okay, here we go. Friday the first one. Friday the 13th DVD. I love the 80s edition. The VH1 collab. Here's our back. So yeah, very, very similar. The backs, they just redid the initial DVD artwork on there. Here we go. Oh yeah, and these got the pull tabs. I like those. All right, here we go. What's inside? All right, here we go. We got our CD. This is so freaking cool. I really hope you guys get as much enjoyment out of this as I can. Okay, so here's our all right, so we got the same thing. We do have the home of the 80s. Boom. All right, here we go. And okay, this makes sense. I had a bad feeling about this. It's the same CD. So, I'm assuming all of them had the same songs on it. Yeah. That's a little bit of a bummer, but I mean, I can't really be too upset about it, but I did hope that it was going to be different. When I saw the case, I was like, okay, they do look identical. Yeah, it's the same thing. Now my only question is, anyone out there, did you get these, and do you remember having different songs than Echo and the Bunnymen, Eraser, In Excess, and Aha? Let me know. You know, that makes sense, and it maybe they use the same ones for just certain movies in a franchise. Like if they did Airplane and some other comedies, they had it. If they did thrillers, they had different ones. I need to know, but still, I really dig that presentation with the CD and everything. You know, God, these are so cool. I do wish it was different songs, but we just went back in time to 2008, which is so weird to say that's going back in time, but it is. So I'm going to pick up some more of these. I'm going to check some thrift stores and check some DVD shops to find more. But yeah, maybe make more sense. But that's pretty cool. It was fun to go down memory lane. I do hope you guys enjoyed that. Going back to 2008, I love the 80s, VH1 classic. So At least if you get one of them, you know you'll get the same CD. So if you want to pick up one of these, they're pretty cool. And this is back when the DVD cases were solid. You got the pull tabs on those. They're not recycle cases. They feel really good in the hand, which is kind of a silly thing to talk about, but wicked cool. I love it. So there you have it, guys. Memory Lane, the I Love the 80s Friday the 13th series. Pretty freaking cool. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. This is your old pal CHH. God bless y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.